Hello and welcome to this edition of the United Patriot Party meeting the candidates across the nation. My name is Greg Gibson. I'll be your host tonight. We have with us tonight Jesus Antonio Cisneros from LA County, California. He is running what we all know to be an uphill battle for Congress in California, but we are behind him 100%. I've got a story I'd like to tell about him just in a little bit, but for now, Mr. Cisneros, I'll give you the floor and let you introduce yourself.
Hi. So I don't want to be seen as a politician. If anything, I believe every single American should run for office. I was given a stat. I ran for city council in a big city called Long Beach. It's a hardcore liberal leftist communist city. And even though I knew I would not win and I had everything against me, I still felt I had to fight, or at least given a chance, or at least be the voice for somebody, for the people that were in the closet conservatives. I'm just average Joe. I'm just you at home watching this. You know, I go to work every day. I have my kids. All I want is a better life. I want my freedoms. I want to enjoy my freedoms. I want to make sure the Constitution is still there. Greatest Constitution in the whole history of mankind. So I'm just here to support the Constitution. I'm here to support you, and I'm just your average Joe. You know, I work my 9 to 5, and I even have a second job now. But yeah, I'm just the average guy, just like you. Long story short, I grew up in Los Angeles, immigrant parents, so first generation. From there, I started working for a local police department. Moved up to a city named Downey. From Downey, ended up in Long Beach. That's when I got involved in politics. That was just two years ago, in the beginning of the pandemic. Reason I started being involved in politics was because I knew where I was headed. Once they started forcing the mandates and closing the beaches, I used to live across the street from the beach. So I'll be damned if living from across the beach, I was told I couldn't leave my house at 9 o'clock, like if the virus wasn't going to attack me after 9 p.m. or whatnot, or what restaurants should open or close. Everybody was affected in my family, from my father to my mother to my wife and the kids. Everybody was affected. So I was damned if I was going to let that happen, you know. And even though I was only one of the few that was fighting out there, I was proud. You know, I started by doing little protests on the beach, saying the beach should be open. Why should the beach be closed? From there, from parks to schools to whatnot. So that's how I got involved in politics. And that's why I urge every single person watching this. It shouldn't just be me. It shouldn't be the people that have been in power for 20, 30 years. It's our God-given right, you know, to fight for our freedoms. And we all should get involved. So you at home watching this, it shouldn't just be me. I should be watching you. I should be watching every single person out there run for some kind of local office. If we just let them take over our lives and take over our freedoms, we're to blame. We really are to blame. So yeah, that's typically that's just me in a nutshell.
Well, you have got an amazing story, and normally we have sort of a basic format that we follow, but I would like to explore that just a little bit. You know, here in North
Yes,
Carolina,
sir.
we were working with a lot of Atrium and Novant medical workers, nurses aides, and even physicians, you know, respiratory therapists, a whole host of frontline workers who were facing the mandates from their companies following the promptings from the government. Now, the point being in that you went through the same thing, uh, you know, as a police officer in California. Um, and this is sort of just a personal question, but you know, how did that feel? Tell me about the decision making process for you when you decided I'm going to stand on principle. I'm not taking this vaccine, regardless of the cost to you know to my career. Kind of tell us how you felt about that. What brought you into that?
You know, it wasn't too hard to make. I knew where it was coming when the mandates started appearing everywhere, and I knew it was going to come to the city of LA and everywhere else in LA County. It wasn't hard to make. Did it hurt me? Yeah, it hurt me. Financially, it changed my whole way of life. I'm telling you, I work 2 jobs now. You know, I'm a plumber, which I just want to thank to all my plumbers out there, electricians, HVAC, construction workers, roofers. We are who build America. But that was the first time I ever did that. I used to wear a nice, cute uniform and drive around to say a certain city, and yeah, I hardly got dirty. You know, it was a whole different job change. It gave me the choice. You know, it was hard to come home and yeah, tell my family, hey, you know what? There's gonna be some changes. You know what? We're gonna have to budget a lot more. Hey, you know what? Yeah, it was hard.
No doubt.
It
No
was,
doubt.
but you know what? It's we all have to fight for freedom. So it was a choice I made, and I stand by my choice. You know, and every day when I wake up early and I go to work and I bust my ass, and every single American out there that's busting their ass, I feel proud of myself, and I feel like my kids got to see that. They got to see somebody that stands up for what they believe in. Um, you know, we all have to fight. If we don't fight, we're gonna lose everything we have. Maybe I lost a career, maybe I lost a retirement, but I didn't lose my freedom. And I did that not just for me. I feel like I did that for every single American out there. You know, for those of you that are scared to say you're conservative, or for those of you to say that are scared to say you voted for Trump, or you stand for Trump, or for those of you that are scared to say you believe in God, because another person of another religion or another race can say they're proud of who they are, but you're scared to say you're white and you're proud to be white. You're scared to say you're a Christian and you love God and you believe in God, or you're scared to say, hey, I believe in freedom, like back up the Constitution, and what's going on is wrong. You know, I felt like I did that not just for me, but for everybody else. And it hurts to know that, yeah, I had to change my whole life, but it feels good to know that I stood up. You know, I stood up to tyranny. And I just hope more people watching this are able to stand up to tyranny, are able to stand up for their family and for their kids. Because I wouldn't be able to come home and look at my kids and look at the wife and say, hey, you know what? I give in. You know, I'm not that type of guy. I wasn't raised that way, you know. Yeah. So I just hope people watching this today remember that, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm from LA County or the Inland Empire or California, or, you know, at the end, we're all the same. We all want the same. And I just hope that there's more people like me out there. You know, I just hope, because the last thing I want is we lose everything we have, everything we know gets replaced. And it's just a little bit of hard work. That's all you have to do. So if I have to have 2 full-time jobs to make ends meet, or to make the same money I was making before, it's okay. I still have my freedoms. I would rather suffer a little bit and work a lot harder than, you know, give in. So yeah, that's it. That's my answer there.
I love that, man. Well, listen, I've got I've got a couple of Cisneros for Congress, or Cisneros the Lion stories that I'll share. We'll share one right now. You know, you and I sort of became connected via Instagram, um,
Yes,
and
sir.
immediately I said this guy's solid. And as I've gotten to know you for the last few months, I've really grown uh, smitten. I'm smitten with you. I'm very impressed with what you're doing and how you're standing up. And just so everybody knows, he's talking about being a plumber. He posted a video on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I think it was just last week, that he was under a crawl space of a house, and it was wet and it was muddy. He's running his hands through the mud, and he says, "Look, I'm here, but I love it. Praise God. I'm in it to win it. Get out to vote." And I mean, this guy's running a stump speech from a 2-foot crawl space out in California, and I was so impressed with that. Just upholding and uplifting the real heroes, the people that go to work every day, the people that bust their back every day to feed their families, and really start recognizing who makes the country function on a daily basis. I was very impressed with that you may have not have meant it as in depth as I took it, but I took it as quite the compliment, because, like I told you, I've been under that wet crawl space before. I know exactly how that feels. It's not clean. It's a rough spot to be in, but I'm really thankful that we've got people out there that do that works, because if not, we don't have indoor plumbing anymore. So I thought that was a very impressive video. You may not have thought much of it, but to me, it was very impressive. Mr. Cisneros,
You know, yes, sir.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
You know what this job has taught me, besides being humble, it taught me to appreciate more. I thought I had it made. I said, hey, I made the right choices. I have a good job. I'm going to retire in 5 years. I'll still be young. It's going to be great. And when my job was taken away because I wouldn't take the vaccine, I was destroyed for a few weeks. And after that, I cleaned myself up and I got up and, I started looking at Craigslist. I'm like, God, how am I going to make a good living? I want the same life I had now. And I said, well, I guess I have to work a couple of jobs, make the same money. But I started seeing blue collar workers a different way. Even though I was a blue collar worker already, I got to see the other side. And now I look at these guys that wear orange and they wear green. And, I see them with so much respect. They're dirty, they're tired, they have sunburns, they're hungry, their hands are beat up. And I love that, and I'm like, hey, I'm part of that. So now I don't see it being let go by the police department as a bad thing. I see it as a better thing. Like, it made me a better person. It made me a stronger person. It made me appreciate life a lot more, and it's true what they say, it's hard times make strong men. And that's what happened to me.
And it's definitely going to help you connect with, the people that you represent. We've had a lot of years now of politicians who are groomed from a very early age to be politicians. They don't, in most cases, come from, those blue collar backgrounds, from policemen and firemen, through plumbers and electricians. They don't come up through those ranks. And I'm under the belief that therefore they cannot in most ways connect with common, ordinary, everyday people who have to pay their bills, people who have to live within a budget. And that's why we've got a national debt that looks the way that it does. We've got people that are convinced that you never have to pay your debts. And as we elect people like you, we lose that. We gain a new sense of urgency when it comes to paying our national debt down, and our daily debts throughout every level of government. You mentioned something a minute ago, just real briefly, but it's a question that I like to ask folks, and especially being in California, we know that across the country it's harder. It's hard to find, in some cases, even the same information, but definitely reliable information. Where do you find reliable information, globally, locally, nationally? Where do you find what spots do you go to for those?
First, I stay away from the local news. I'm scared of the local news of what they're for people into our society. So I stay away from the local news. I'll talk about that another time, but I stay away from local news. I believe personally they can't be trusted. They all get paid. They have their job to do, and their job to do is, they sell you certain information. They're taking away our values and morals. So first of all, I stay away from local news and news channel. Second, God, that's a hard one. I love to do research. Thank God for technology. Thank God for iPhones. Nowadays we're all connected. I like to speak to local people running. I love Charlie Kirk. He's awesome. PragerU is amazing. But even them I question as well. Ben Shapiro, he's a local here in California. Even though I love what they say and I stand by mostly of what they say, I still research, what they say. You always have to research and you always have to question. As Americans, it's good to question. When you stop questioning, that's when you start losing your freedoms. So yeah, mostly a lot of conservative stuff.
Yeah. I like it a lot to eat. It's like eating fish. It's good. A lot of the information we take in, a lot of it's good, but you always got to watch for bones. You got to watch for the things that are not going to agree with you, and that are going to maybe do you potential harm. But it's
True.
harder for everybody, on regardless of where you come into the political spectrum. It's harder for everybody to find good, solid, dependable, reliable news. And that's basically why I asked that. It's almost for my curiosity of, hey, where do you get your information? Um, Now you mentioned your family. How do they feel about you running? Do they think you're crazy? How do they feel about that?
Uh, God. So we'll start with the immediate family. Um, yeah, so they don't like spotlight. It's more like, hey, we have our life, we live our life, and we stay away from the spotlight. So they're not too happy with spotlight and me attending events and whatnot. But they support me 100%. And that's something I love my wife for. She's really supportive, and the kids. They don't understand a lot of it, but they do understand freedom, and they do understand the importance of freedom and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Now, other family, being from LA, uh, most of them don't agree with me. Most of them don't appreciate that I'm on the right side. They don't see conservatism as something they agree with. You have to understand here, since yeah, it's difficult in California. There's a lot of indoctrination. A lot of it, I feel like, hey, it's not their fault. Since there's kids, they're brainwashed by their teachers, they're brainwashed by media, they're brainwashed by everywhere and everything. I mean, for God's sakes, we had riots and we had burnings and we had lootings, and people thought that was okay. They actually thought that was okay. They didn't care about the regular Joe that just got his whole business burned down and shut down. They actually cared about the gentleman saying Black Lives Matter. It's times are twisted, and times are twisted here. So a lot of my family doesn't agree with my views. I do believe some family, they don't see me the same. They don't talk to me the same anymore. But it's okay. Um, and that's the right. I still see them as family. I still love them as family, and I respect their views. And that's something about this country, something we used to have as Democrats and as conservatives, Republicans, and libertarians. We didn't have to agree, but we respected each other. And that's something I want again. I don't want to smash a Democrat's face, if I will, if I have to, but I don't want to. I'd rather have a conversation, and maybe we can meet somewhere and say, hey, you know what? I agree with you. Or maybe I don't agree with you, but you know what? You're still American, and that's your right. And you know what? I still love you for being a man of God, and I love you for being, for having your views, and I love you for being American. So I don't agree with you today, but you know what? You're still like me, man. You still have the same rights. And I think what's going on now, it's we can't have that. There's talk of civil war, which kind of breaks my heart. Like, how are we speaking about civil war? Is it that bad? And sometimes I feel like it is. But I wouldn't go for it. I would rather go back to the days when we actually had disputes and just talked, and that was it. And maybe you went home and you were pissed, but you had a beer, you forgot about it the next day. And I wish it was like that. But yeah, I did lose some family for that. I respect them. If that's what they want to do, they don't want to speak to me because of that, it's fine. For the ones that are here with me for the ride, it's going to be a wild ride, but you know what? It's going to get us somewhere. It's going to make sure we keep our freedoms. But yeah, here at home, we don't speak politics much. We have dinners, we talk about work, we talk about school, we talk about homework. Talked about me going under the house, or me doing jobs, just basic talks, and we don't speak to politics. Yeah, that's it. That's family.
Yes, very cool, very cool. Well, it's you know, for running for any kind of office, and honestly, until the last year or so, I did not realize how much the family, and it's the reason I asked that question. I didn't realize how much it involves the family when somebody runs for office. For the most part, the family's left out, but they do, they recognize that early on that it's a strain on your time and it's a strain on, so, that family support is very positive. It's something that you're going to need as you go forward into a lot of these battles. Um, you know, my opinion is pretty straightforward that we're not just fighting liberalism. We're fighting full communism at this point. We've had Marxist beliefs introduced into our every level of government for a long time. So the battles that you're coming up on over the next few years of your life, they're going to take support from, some random guy in North Carolina. They're going to take, support, daily from your wife right there in the home. And we want to make sure that you've got that support. And we want you to know that we're behind you all the way. Um, all right, let's get into some technicals. Um, who
Technicals.
who are you running against? Let's start with that. Tell me a little bit about who you would be running against.
Okay, so we just got redistricted, right? And I'm not running till 2024. So I'm just hoping there's not another redistricting, stuff changes. Currently, I used to be District 36. It's now District 25. I live in what's called the Inland Empire. That's where the whole lion name came from. I'll explain that later. But I pretty much live in the desert. From LA, the city of LA, I'm about an hour and 15, an hour and a half away. My district, it's pretty much a desert area, a beautiful desert area. We have everything from people that live in mobile homes to people that live in $1 million homes. I cover cities such as Palm Springs, Palm Desert, a small city named Blythe, which is at the border of Arizona. I cover Banning, Beaumont, Cherry Valley, 29 Palms, which is hardcore Marine base, go Marines. Yeah, it's a large area. And the reason I'm running to 2024 because it's such a large area with hundreds of miles in between square miles. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of footwork. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of walking. I'm running against Raul Ruiz at this time. He's been there since 2013, hardcore Democrat. Dr. Raul Ruiz hasn't done much for the district, but he's done a lot for the hospitals because he is a doctor, and he's done a lot for the casinos. We have a lot of Indian casinos here. So yeah, that's two type of organizations that don't need more help, don't need more money, and don't need more laws that go their way and help them their way. We have a lot of people here. We have Desert Hot Springs, which is a city that's in dire need. So the stuff he votes for, the laws he votes for, it's not stuff that necessarily helps the people, but does help the corporations and the organizations that help him. So it's time we change that. It's time we remember the guy sleeping in the car because he lost his job. It's the time that, we change laws that affect the kids. I'm big. Most of the stuff I'm working on is laws for children, protecting children and protecting the rights of children. That is our future. That why not make laws that help the children and help our society instead of taking money and taking money. I believe what happens, a lot of politicians, when they start, they have good intentions. I do believe that. I believe they want to be heroes. They want to make a change, but then they taste money and they start taking more money. From 150,000 a year, somehow they have $2 million, $3 million within a couple of years of being in office. And I think that's what's wrong. One of the things I want to work on is that politicians not being able, and I know they're going to hate me for this and they're going to want to hang me for that, but it's politicians not taking money from corporations. You get paid your 150,000 a year and that's it. That's enough to live off. You don't need $2, $3, $4 million from companies, from companies all over the world or companies all over the place. It's scary how China donates money. It's scary how Russia donates money. It's scary how other communist countries are so involved in our current politics. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. You get paid your 150,000 and that's it. I want to make sure they start investigations into that. And I believe that's what happens with politicians. They start taking money and then they forget about the people. But yeah, that's pretty much my area. It's a beautiful area. It's a desert. One more time, it's, you get to your 100, 105, 110 degrees. And it's pretty much a place that has grown lately for the last 10 years because people can't afford to live in Los Angeles. Taxes, you have a city with millions of people, you want better kids, but you have taxes, gas tax and state tax and city taxes and all sorts of taxes. You make $1,000 a week, you see your check and you're making 650 a week. So what do? You run to the desert. You run and you live out here. You can still, and I know different states, but here you buy a home for 500,000, 600,000, and that's cheap in California. You stay in LA County, houses are 7, 8, 900,000. If for the regular blue collar worker, that can't happen anymore. They can't afford homes. So yeah, that's how they end up in the desert. That's how I ended up in the desert. But yeah, that's my district. That's my district.
Very cool. What what do you see is the number one problem in you? You're welcome to answer as many of these as you like. In
Yes, sir.
excuse me, national politics, state politics, or even your local politics, what do you see as your number one problem? And a second question: what would be your first item that you would be working towards once elected?
Wow, that's a tricky one. So first, you know what I think it is? I think this is more than a 2 or 3 or 4 prong attack.
Mhm.
I think communism and socialism is kicking in every form of government, from city council to state to federal. They're hitting us hard, and they're hitting us in every direction. I think that's the main problem now. Um, we're losing our freedom slowly. Right now we're worried about Russia when there's a bunch of other stuff going on. There's Senate bills, there's assembly bills, there's all sorts of bills being passed right now that people don't know about. For example, here in California, they're trying to pass an assembly bill that's going to force vaccinations. It doesn't matter if you have an exemption because your religious exemption or because your parents don't want you to get the vaccine. They're forcing the vaccine in order to go to school. That's a assembly bill coming up pretty soon. That's one. We have a Senate bill. It was Senate Bill 145, which basically says if a child molester molested your child and they're within a 10-year difference, a judge can actually give them a linear sentence, A, and B. Also, the person's not going to be considered a pedophile, which means he can still work in a school, he can still work in a park or in a daycare. So there's a lot of laws that have been passed and are being passed, and we don't see. So the biggest problem I see at this time is that we are losing and people are not getting involved. People rather be on TikTok 2, 3 hours at night. People rather be watching TV or interested who's in the halftime show at the freaking Super Bowl. People are not getting involved. So I believe the biggest problem right now is people not being involved, people not doing research, people not being aware, and just people in general not interested in politics. And at the end, we have to remember, when one person or two people or a few people pass laws that affect your life, that affects you, and people are not interested. So I think the biggest problem in America now in government is just people not being involved. Regular persons not being involved, a regular Joe American or Maria not being involved. It's just not being aware, not being involved. What will I work on first? God, my brain just blows up and explodes because I have so much. I think number one thing I will work on is preserving our Constitution, because right now our Constitution is being torn apart. I am a constitutionalist. Uh, and this is one thing that people don't understand, because I speak to people from all over the country, and they're like, well, if you're going to be a congressman in the Inland Empire in California, that doesn't affect Virginia or Washington or Oregon or Arizona. I'm like, yes, it does. Basically, it's a vote. You got congressmen, they place a vote. One vote can go one way and pass a law. One vote can go the other way and not pass a law. I go, so even though a district is 3, 4, 5, 600 miles away from you, it still affects you. So what I really tell people at this time is just be involved in government. So I think one of the first things I will do is just preserve our Constitution. Second, I mentioned earlier, I'm big on the protection of children. When I worked for that certain police department, we work mostly with kids and protecting the kids and laws that protect kids. There's hundreds of thousands of kids missing every year. That's a pandemic. People don't talk about that. You know, there's so many laws that are affecting kids. There's critical race theory. I had a teacher in the city of Redlands, California, which was testing the kids on how racist they were and if they were interested in dating a black male, or how would they see a black male, or if they would marry a black male. That's something they shouldn't be teaching in school. What does that have to do with anything? Who you want to marry and what skin color or race they would be? We have critical race theory. And something I tell people is be proud to be white, be proud to be Hispanic, be proud to be African American. We're all American at the end. You know, none of us should be scared. But one thing they're going after right now is going after our kids. So I want to make sure that I stop critical race theory. That's 2. 3, that's really affecting the kids right now is the vaccines. If that's your child and you want to get them vaccinated, I oppose it. But if that's your God-given right and it's your freedom, then you do it. But don't make me force my kids in order to receive an education. They have to get a vaccine. So that's something that I will tackle too. Something that I really want to tackle is election fraud. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not stupid either. I'm not an idiot. We all saw what happened. We all saw what can happen. It's not hard. Have a fucking ID. You know, show your ID and go vote. How is it that for everything you're required an ID? I can't even go buy a lotto ticket. Yeah, I'm buying lottery tickets now. I'm one of those guys because I'm desperate now for money. So now I'm hoping to God, I'm like, hey, can I win the lottery? But how is it to buy a lotto ticket? You need to show your ID, but not to vote. So that's something else I want to tackle. So when everybody says, what's your number one priority? I don't think we have one priority. I think there's many priorities. Those are just a few.
Very well said. And you've actually touched on a lot of the things that I intended to talk with you about. You know, one of the things that I personally, and that many around me are starting to think is we're no longer going to ballot down vote. If you just having an R by your name does not guarantee you my vote anymore. It's going to be about knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, and then more importantly, following up so that the things that you said you would do, that you are doing them. You know, that's what we want to encourage people to do throughout this next election process. It sounds simple, but it's something we've never ever done before. And you know, and I want to ask your opinion on before we move into the remainder of the balance of those demands that we would like to see met. But constitutional adherence. You know, how do you feel on, you know, how do you feel the constitutional or the oath? Let me rephrase that: the oath to uphold the Constitution that has been taken by politicians in recent years. Do you feel that they're upholding that oath, or do you feel that they're dropping the ball on that?
They're more than dropping the ball. I just saw the ball go by and it went across the street. You know, it's the most beautiful piece of paper besides the Bible ever read. It made this country what it is. Many constitutions around the world are based on our Constitution. It made this great nation, and to see it torn apart and not being followed, it's scary. It's scary. It hasn't. It's not being followed. It's not being adhered. It's being torn apart. It's scary when I see certain Congress people out there, some crazy ass people, you know, Ocasio-Cortez, sorry, that kind of slipped out, but Ocasio-Cortez, it's scary how she's in power and she doesn't know what the Constitution is. It's scary to have people like that. Not only am I hardcore constitutionalist, something I believe I'm even more than that is a patriot. Uh, People don't have love for country anymore. People don't have respect for flaggers anymore. People allow it. You drop the flag in front of me, I'm gonna beat your ass, man. And people not just kind of turn the other way. That's something we can't allow to happen. They can't tear apart our constitution. They can't take away our love for our country. I know I'm going on a tangent here off the subject, but when you said that, it just I start thinking about all the stuff I watch, on media, and how they attack our constitution so bad. Um, yeah, that's one of the things I want to bring back. Bring back the Constitution. And I know it sounds awkward, like it left or it's not here, but it's really not. It's not really being followed anymore. Um, I encourage people to actually turn on their media and start watching congressional hearings. I want them to start watching when they vote. You know, watch your senators, what they're voting for. People don't do that anymore. It's not just about saying yay or nay. It might take hours and hours and you might fall asleep at the whole time, but you have to start getting involved in what they're doing to our constitution, and people are not. And once the law passes, it's kind of too late. And I protest. I've been to so many protests, uh, but protest doesn't do much once a law's passed, or once a Senate bill's passed, or once Congress passes something, or once a person is elected into power. So yeah, let's support our Constitution, bring it back, and yeah, that's where I stand.
I'm going to tell a story on you. I told you I had two stories on you that, and this one may be a little embarrassing, and we can cut it out in editing if you need me to. But there was one weekend, there was a big protest and rally, a Save the Children protest out in California. I'd seen a lot of buzz for it, and I knew that you were going. And I'd shot you a message on, I think it was on Saturday morning, like at 9 o'clock
Yes, sir.
my time, which was around 6 your time. And I said, hey man, shoot me, a text later, let me know how it went. Well, I didn't hear from you Saturday. I didn't hear from you Sunday. And I think I texted you maybe Sunday, either Sunday or Monday. Never heard a word. I thought, well, this guy blew me off. Why is he blowing me off? And then it was like Tuesday. And then I think it was Wednesday. You texted me back and you said, hey man, I had to get a new phone. Antifa showed up, and you were on those front lines with people counter protesting a Save the Children rally. And one of them had kicked you in the leg and actually busted your phone. Um, Again, another moment that I was really, I was really honored to know you, just because if you're standing in the gap for children, and somebody has come up to oppose that stance, they are an enemy of children. And for you to actually,
Yes.
it wasn't just verbal assault, you were physically assaulted, to the point that it cost you, out of pocket to replace a phone and everything else. I was really, I was really impressed, to say the least, with that. And I appreciate that you were out there doing that work.
You know what it was, partner? When Antifa showed up, I'm like, that's it. That's Antifa. It was a bunch of skinny guys with man buns,
Mhm.
and a lot of LGBT people with the purple hair and the green hair. I'm like, hey, that's who's kicking our ass. That's who's taking their freedoms away. So when the fight started, man, the fight started. It was yeah, a lot of memories, Yeah, it cost me my phone,
Yeah.
but yeah, and that's what I mean by fighting for what you believe in. Not just verbally, there's physically, there's certain ways we all fight a different way, and one way is not better than the other. But yeah, I'm not one to run away, partner. I'm not one to run away.
And that's,
My sister was there that oh, sorry, but my sister was there that day with me. Love her to death, Jesus Cisneros, and yeah, she was recording me the whole time. She's like, "Hey, I saw you. You were kicking and punching." Yeah, that was awesome. That was a
well,
good feeling.
that's
Uh,
why I wanted to bring that
yeah,
up. And you're a fighter. You're a literal freedom fighter. Out there in the trenches, man. And that's the kind of warrior that we need now. fighting for us in Congress.
Thank you. And you know what, partner? It's not just me, it's you and it's everybody else. We all fight a different way. And when I say that, you got your way, your media. You know, I got my way out here. I have a big mouth, man. I talk a lot of shit. I'll get in your face. And I'm trying this whole politics things, and I'm trying it every single way I can. You know, some people say, hey, you're not too congressional. Yeah. Am I supposed to wear a cute little tie? Which I have to sometimes. I hate wearing the little monkey suit with the tie. Is it speaking properly and praising God every 10 minutes? We all fight a different way. I tell people, you know what? This is my way. This is how I chose to fight for our freedoms. You got your way. Everybody has their own way, but you have to fight. You know, nobody's way of fighting is better than the other. But at the end, we all have to fight. You know, we all have to fight for not just our freedom, but fight for your family. I tell some people, fuck, if you don't have the balls to fight for you, at least fight for your kids. How do you go home and look at your kids and you say you're this tough man and you're a man of the family, but you can't fuck the freedoms and for the future, you know? And, you know, so as people do more research, people start seeing my videos and stuff pops out. I'm just Common Joe, you know, or Common Jose, if you want to call me a Common Jose. You know, I'm just American, just like you. I love this country, just like you. And I want to bring loving America back. You know, yeah, that's it. I just made up a line, loving America back.
Love it.
Yeah, I like to travel. I used to travel a lot. And every country you go to, people love their country, man. They love their flag. They'll fight for their flag. They'll die for their flag. They'll die for the country. We're losing that here. We're losing that. I'm scared if we were to fight another country, millennials will just give it away. You know, just give me my iPhone, give me my Starbucks, you know, give me my $200 tennis shoes, and I'm happy. You know, I'm scared we're going to lose this great nation. You know, but I just like to remind people, you know, there's nothing extraordinary about me. I'm just regular Joe, a regular Jose. I'm just like you. But yeah, so whenever you hear me speak, I'm not too congressional. I cuss, I talk a lot of shit, I get in their face. I'm angry. You know, you should be too. I think everybody should be angry. You know, people, you know, I used to go to the meetings for the Republican Party. I remember at one of the meetings of the Republican Party, when I went to get support for running for city council. First thing they said was, "You're too aggressive." I'm like, wait, fuck you. This is what you need, you know. And what I believe now, the Republican Party doesn't have a spine. They have no balls, you know. They lost their way. They give in, you know. And us as conservatives, yeah, we don't stand up anymore. You know, I've been told a lot, well, just turn the cheek. I'm like, no, I'll turn the fucking cheek. You know, I grab a rock and I smash his fucking face, you know, and I'll do that for me. I'll do that for my kids, and I'll do that for this country. And some people even said, hey, that's not too Christian of you. I'm like, well, you know what? If you read your Bible, yeah, you do a lot of scary stuff in order to enforce our views. You know, I am a man of God, you know, but it's just, I feel like I got chosen to fight a different way. And I always tell people, even God sent St. Michael to kick the devil's ass. You know, he didn't send him over there to debate or to talk to him. You know, so we got our certain ways. You know, this is my way. I just hope people do support me. You know, and when I go do my speeches, people always say, hey, how can we donate? How can we sponsor you? How can we give you some money? So I tell people, I don't want your money. You know, I want your respect, number one. Number two, I want your vote. You know, I don't want your fucking money. You know, you earned it. You work hard for it. Give it to your kids. Save up for college, you know, or save up for a trade, or save up for something, you know, that's going to be useful to you. Don't give it to me. Don't give money to the Republican Party. You know, I love it where, you know, I get texts all day from Republican Party and saying, hey, this law is going to pass. Send us $10. Or, hey, we're losing right now against Harris, or we're losing against Biden. Send us $50. You know, I tell people, stop sending money to politicians. You know, if you believe in a politician, give them support. You know, spread the word, encourage them. Media is beautiful. Media is powerful. I loved, I was listening to Charlie Kirk today, and he mentioned something about citizen reporters. I think that's going to be our fight, bud. People like you, what you're doing right now. I think if we spread the word, the left, the Democrats, socialists, communists, maybe some of them might actually agree with us. Maybe some of them might actually switch their mind and their way of thinking once they see that we're not bad. We just want what's best for our country, best for our kids, best for our families. We bust our ass, we work hard. That's all we want. We want to be left alone. We don't want big government. We don't want people telling us what to do and how to live our lives. We don't want to be given mandates and forced to do stuff. I think once people start seeing that and we start spreading the word this way. And, once we start seeing we're just regular people, I don't want to wear this fucking suit right now. I wish I was wearing a t-shirt like you and a baseball hat. I don't want people to see me as a politician. I just want people to see me like average Joe. Is just, if I came out here all dirty in my plumber uniform, maybe I won't come across, as too political. But I know my politics. I love my politics, but I love my country. I love God, and I love my family. And that's something that I want everybody to do, and everybody to love, and everybody to fight for. It's just, I shouldn't be the only one running for Congress. It should be you right now, Greg. It should be, your neighbors, should be, everybody should be running. We only will follow 2-3 people when there should be more than 2-3 people. But yeah, that's my take. Sorry, I just went on a tangent on them.
Okay. No, just as S. Grant said, there are but two parties now, patriots and traitors. And I count myself with the latter, and I trust the stronger party. We call them the mirror party. The United Patriot Party, we refer to them as the mirror party now. You see the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, and you can't tell them, you can't tell the difference. Unless they have the R by their name or the D by their name, you don't know which one it is. It's literally the same guy with the same, just to go through my little spiel, he's got the the $500 haircut, he's got $1,000 suit, and he's got $1 million smile. And he's got that perfect twinkle in his eye, and he's pointing at you and he says, vote for me. I'm not the other guy. And, we've got to get away from that. We've got to start putting people in who've got a potty mouth, people who understand why we're angry. And I think that, you kind of exemplify that. I think you exemplify, a righteous indignation. There is a time to be angry. A lot of people see a believer in God angry, and they say, oh, that's not Christian-like. That's not Christ-like. Well, there was a time in the temple of God when Jesus, fashioned a whip from the cords, and he ran out the money changers. He overturned the tables. There is a righteous wrath. And I would like to think that that's where folks like us are coming down now. And that kind of leads us into, just sort of segues us into something else that you touched on it earlier. And we definitely want to talk about it, because one of the number one things that, as the United Patriot Party, we believe that needs to be corrected immediately, not in the near future, but immediately. And it must be done by Congress, is an overhaul of the tax code. In other words, the IRS needs to be abolished, and we need to find a recognizable and an understandable tax code, such as I'm just throwing a name out there, but the fair tax system, which is a sales tax based only, not an income-based tax, so that people control how much they are taxed. At this point in time, we're taxed somewhere in the neighborhood of 65% of every dollar that we make, goes up to the government, who says they declare that they can spend it better than we can. It used to be that, various issues were handled in the community through local churches. As people gave to their churches were able to help those in need. The government said, no, we need to handle all that. So all that money started getting drawn up in bigger and bigger portions as it went. So how do you feel about, that urgency, or a sense of urgency for an overhaul of the tax code?
It's not just an urgency, it's dire. It's something we need to do, something we need to address. Yes, it, it should be definitely something brought up right away with Congress. I believe it's this. I know what my needs are at home, right? I know what my kids need for clothing, for food, for education. I know how much my bills are. I know it's my money. I work for it. How is it that somebody up there that's hundreds of miles away thinks they know better what I should do with my money? Um, like I say, I'm not into big government. I believe in self-government. You know, we should be able to make our own choices, and we're not. We should be able to spend our own money the way we want to. The more you get taxed, goddamn, sorry, I'm getting pissed. I just remember my check this week. Yeah, I even get taxed more for having two jobs. It's sad, the more you work, the more you get taxed. But yeah, touching back on that, it's your money. You know how to spend it. You know what to do with it. If you want to blow it, great. It's your choice. If you want to save it, it's your choice. But when they're taxing you 30, 40, 50, 60% of your money that you make, you can't save. You can't get better for your kids. You can't get better for yourself. To my single people out there, you can't do better for yourself. You can't afford something better, a bigger home or a better investment. You can't. So an overhaul of the tax system is something we need to do ASAP. Um, it's something that's in dire need. Not too many people like talking about, the financial stuff, but it's something in politics and something we need to address, not just our freedoms. We could be as free as we want, but we're not as free if they're controlling your money. So when I speak about freedom, it's not just laws, it's also financial, it's also freedom of religion, it's also the way you want to raise your kids. It's what you want in your body, what you don't want in your body. It's about your health. We have so many types of freedoms, and we're losing in every single way. We're losing our freedoms. So yeah, I'm with you, brother, on the taxes.
Fantastic. I know that, you know, it would be great if we could get, there's what, 435 congressmen right now. I would love to see us change. I know they're not all up for reelection, but it would be so amazing if we put not just 435 Republicans. That means nothing to me. But if we put 435 patriots, in Congress this election, and really have so that you guys all have the support that you need, you could get to the work that needs to be done. So we've got immediate problems facing us as a people, but then what do we want to turn it into? We want to make sure that we're avoiding communism, but we want to make sure that we've got an idea of what our end goal is as well. We want to make sure that people not only stop losing freedoms, but then find what we talk about as radical liberty, a liberty beyond anything any of us have ever imagined. The self-governance, the freedom from so much government oversight, and part of that is a financial freedom from our government. So what do we not only what are we fighting against now, but what are we fighting for later is kind of the way that we want to make sure that we're looking at this. Two more quick things, and these are, I know a lot of people feel differently about it. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just us getting to know you and kind of what you think about it. But we have what we call wish list items. One being a the 28th Amendment to the Constitution, which would be a term limit amendment, and even the 29th, which would be a balanced budget amendment, so that government learns, and Congress in particular, learns to live on less money than they take in, just like we do in our personal homes, which makes all the sense in the world. So I'll throw those two questions to you. How do you feel about term limits, and how do you feel about a balanced budget amendment?
There's a reason we're not a monarchy. There's a reason we're not North Korea and China. We need term limits. I don't want you to see me in there for more than 2 years. I want to go in, change stuff in 2 years, and maybe somebody else with better ideas comes in. You know, when you have people in certain seats that are there, 10, 20, 30 years, that is scary. That is scary. You have a lot of people here in California that are in power that have been there 20, 30 years. They're in their late 70s, early 80s. When you start looking at your grandpa in their 70s and 80s, and then you see a politician in their 70s and 80s, and they've been there for 20, 30 years, you start thinking, hey, if my grandpa's kind of loopy, yeah, politician that's been there for 30 years, you start questioning, right? Take away the makeup, take away the nice clothes, and you
Sure.
start seeing your grandpa and your grandma senile. Biden. um yeah, it's kind of scary, so yeah, term limits. I say enough. It's enough is enough. We're not a monarchy. We're not there for years and years and years and years and years. I stand with you with that. um Something I have always respected. I grew up poor, brother. My parents were immigrants. Not sure how my dad used to do it, but we always had food on the table. And my dad, he didn't make much, probably minimum wage. Well, it's minimum wage now, but somehow he still had a car. We had gas. We had, we had air conditioner. He learned to budget. He learned, um, he learned to budget, and the government should too. If if you at home knows how to budget, if average American knows how to budget, how come the government doesn't know how to budget? They have all these thousands of workers that work for them, and that's their job, to balance our budget. And somehow they haven't figured it out. But the average guy that works construction, or he works at the meat market, or the truck driver, he figured it out. He knows how to balance a budget at home. Why can't the government do that? Why is it that the most powerful country in the whole world doesn't know how to budget? They need to borrow from fucking China. How is it? So I'm with you on that one too, brother. I support you 100%. You know, yeah, they need to be held accountable. We need to put a stop, when they're like, hey, so we owe trillions of dollars. I'm like, wow, it's gonna take the average person 90,000. Fuck, I'm not even making 90,000 now. How are we all gonna pay that? And I start looking at my kids. I'm like, so my kids are gonna pay that. And I'm like, fuck, maybe even my grandkids are gonna pay that. It shouldn't be that way, partner. It's time we change that. We all need to learn to budget. No more, no more giving money away. It's just, yeah. So I'm with you on that too.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I understand, a lot of families have credit card debt and various debts, from home loans and different things. But at the end of the day, if anybody ran their household the way Congress runs the entire United States, that household would be destitute, homeless, broke in a matter of months. I mean, you can only outspend your earning for so long, and at the rate they do it, it would be so fast. And I mean, I would probably, blow through a lot more debt if I could just look at it and say, 50 years from now, somebody
Let
will
me,
take care of that.
what would be nice if we have a money printing machine just like Biden.
There you go. There you go. Just turn it on, kick out a few hundos, and go on down the street with it. But that's it's insanity. It's absolutely insanity. And we've got people who groomed for years to run for these offices. We heard Mitch McConnell back at the first of the year say, we're not going to support and we're not going to allow these grassroots candidates. And they fully well intend to tell us who they choose and who we will vote for. And that's one of the reasons that these conversations are so important to have. We need to make sure that we're putting people in these offices, everywhere from the school board, county commission, every level of government, who are going to think like us and actually produce some work for a change, not those who have been groomed to follow orders or fall in line for the last 12, 15 years. the good old boys club, so to speak. So I really am, I'm really very appreciative of you. You know, it would be so easy for you to have said, okay, hey, I will just take the vaccine and go on with my life. It would have been super easy for you to say, okay, I refuse the vaccine. I'm in a different mode in life. I don't have the time to serve my fellow man. But it's very impressive that in the midst of that storm, you stepped forward and said, "Look, you know, there's got to be a better way, and I'm willing to lead us to get to that point." So, Mr. Cisneros, my hat is off to you, and I thank you for the service that you've got, that you've already given the nation, with your military career, your time as a policeman, and I look forward to seeing your service in the future, as a servant of the people. And as always, I want to give you the floor for a couple of purposes at the end. I want to make sure that you give everybody the information on how to get in touch with you, how to connect with you on various platforms, how to donate, and again, I will encourage it, and I'm sure Mr. Cisneros will as well. Uh, get involved. Go out when he's having a campaign event. Be there. You know, ask him, sir, how can I help you? What do you need from me? Not what can you give me, but what do you need from me? How can I be, how can I be helping you to get into position to really make a big impact on our whole nation? So, Mr. Cisneros, I'll let you finish this up and we'll close out.
Um, I already said so much, but I just want to encourage people, get involved, do your research, get involved in politics. It's hard. I know in today's times, it's so easy to get distracted with media and little shiny lights everywhere and sports and whatnot. TikTok, oh my God, Facebook for my people that still do Facebook and Instagram and everything else. It's so hard with so many apps. They take away our attention, but pay attention to what's really important. Our freedoms, number one. Our God-given rights. Pay attention to your family, pay attention to your children. I'm just an average American just like you, but I had enough. I felt like this is it. I lost my career. And I got up and I said, give me more. That I lost my retirement. And I said, you know what? I'm standing up again. Give me more. I live in California, for God's sakes, hardcore liberal communist state, and I'm like, you know what? Give me more. It's yeah, I keep getting punched, but you gotta keep standing up, just like I'm standing up. I think the average American can stand up. Don't be in the closet anymore as a conservative, be proud. Like, fuck, man, have some balls, have some spines, just get up and be yourself. We lost so many troops, throughout our American history just to fight for your freedoms. And now that you have them, you won't fight for them. And if, I tell people, if you're not going to fight for you, fight for your family, fight for your kids, just fight. It's time. And we all fight our different ways. My way is getting involved in politics, being active, protesting. I assemble that certain way. You could do it a different way. You could do it through media, be a citizen reporter. We're all connected. It doesn't matter if you're in North Carolina, Greg, if you're in Virginia and Texas or Arizona, we all look up to Texas to to be there for us, but there's little Texas in every state and every county. Just love your country. Don't be ashamed for loving your country. Don't be ashamed for standing up for your flag. Don't be ashamed for standing up for Trump, our greatest president. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of being Christian. Most of all, don't be ashamed of being white. Lefty media tells you to be ashamed for being white. Be proud to be white. I can't specify this more than enough. A lot of people are scared to speak up, just like African Americans are proud to be black and Hispanics are proud to be Hispanic. You should be proud for being white. You should be proud for being Asian, or, at the end, we're all American. You should really just stand up for yourself. If I could do it, you could do it. Anyone can do it. It's our time. I do believe it's our time. Besides that, I'm not asking for donations. I don't want donations. I just want support. I want you to spread my name and say, hey, this little guy, I'm only 5'5". Wait till you see me. This little guy out there from LA, he's trying to make a difference in the blue state. This guy lost his whole career. He lost his way of life, and he has to bust his ass working 2 jobs. But he's fighting for me. He's fighting for you. He's fighting for everybody. It's not just something tacky politicians say, because when they say they're fighting for you, they're not. I took a couple punches to the face and a couple kicks. That's fighting for you, and yeah, I just need your support. Spread my name and, spread your name, get involved, get into politics. My housewives at home, my hardworking people at home, my blue collar workers at home, even my guys that wear cute uniforms to work and cute ties to work. We're all American. Get off your damn TikTok, get off the Instagram, looking at stuff you shouldn't, that's wasting your time. Get involved in politics. People are making laws that affect you and your kids and your future and your money every single day. People are making laws that take away your freedoms every single day. If you're going to use media, use it the right way. Use it to fight for your freedoms. Instagram, it's Cisneros for Congress, Cisneros, Cisneros for Congress. Facebook, I just opened it again because I realized people over 50 start using Facebook. My mom taught me that one. It's Vote Jesus Cisneros. That's Jesus, not Jesus. There's only one Jesus. It's Jesus Cisneros. Vote Jesus Cisneros. I'm still working on a lot of other stuff. I finally have a chief of staff, Mark Risk, awesome guy. I have a media director that's amazing. Her name is Jody. She's from South Carolina. So let's all connect, and I tell people one thing: if you're a congressman from one state, you still have influence over the rest of the country. One vote causes a law to change or not change. Even though I'm representing California, I still represent the rest of the country. So do get involved with your congressmen from all over the place. Republican Party, you lost your ways, you lost your balls, you lost your spine. There's patriots coming, and they're coming to replace you. For everybody else, just God bless you. Have a good night. Thank you for watching me. I know I went off on a tantrum and I spoke about a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, I have a lot of feelings inside, and I think you should too. I think we all should. I didn't practice for this. My chief of staff is not here next to me right now. Tell me what to say, what not to say. My family's inside the bedroom right now, locked up. This is just me. This is me being me. I don't have a script, as you can tell. I think it's time that we are just us. We are who we are, and we fight for who we are, what we believe in. So thank you, Greg. You're amazing, brother. Thank you for fighting the good fight. And support your fellow patriots. Once again, Cisneros for Congress on Instagram, and I'll be coming up with a website and everything else within the next few weeks. I'll be running in 2024, so I still have time. I'm starting early because I know it's a good fight, but they have a fucking fight coming. So yeah, let's get ready.
Well, hello, you flag-waving, freedom-loving patriots. My name is Greg Gibson, and I want to thank you for joining the United Patriot Party here on YouTube. And I want to give you some more ways to connect. You can visit our website at uppnc.com. You can join us on the Telegram chat at United_Patriot Party. That's all one word. And you can find us on Instagram at Patriot Party NC. Now listen, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And I really am honored to stand together with you guys against tyranny as we fight for freedom, for ourselves and for the generations to come.